Hey Waffle Gang, I do hope you are well. My name is Mark and today we're checking out some more slash my butthole. I went off on that one. And if you love today's stories, why not consider hitting that like, subscribe, maybe that notification bell too, and let's crack straight on with today's first story. Now today's first story does come with an update and it's from Wubba Lubba Dubba Person. I think I got it right. Would I be the arsehole for inviting everyone from my high school class but one girl to my wedding? The high school I, female 23, went to lasted 5 years. 3 that we spent in boarding house and 2 that we lived in flats close to the school building. That made me and my 32 classmates grow really close, and we meet up multiple times a year and whenever one of us has a big life event happening, like weddings. And even though I'm not totally close with all of them, I love them all to death. Well, with one exception. I'm getting married next year and right now we're looking at the guest list. I'm the 5th from my class to get married and the 4 before me all invited everyone from our class. I would love to continue this tradition, but I just can't stand this one girl. She's a huge narcissist, which is a trait I hate. Maybe I was a bit jealous about all the attention she got. Maybe our personalities were just too different. I don't know. But I spent the majority of our 5 school years together by ignoring her. It was fine, we still got along okay. But in our 4th year, we did a school project and she was the project manager. I don't want to get into too much detail, but she loved being the center of attention and was constantly making mountains out of molehills. With one of these mountains, she shouted at and embarrassed me in front of the whole class and 3 teachers. I left school early that day to cry. In the afternoon, she sent me a message saying, "Everything cleared. Till this day, I have not received an apology. I do not want this girl who has never been kind to me unless it pleased her at my wedding." I talked to a friend from class the other day about planning to not invite her, and I was told it would be really unfair and arsehole-ish because it would show her and everyone else that I didn't want her there specifically. I'm not really worried that she would get angry over not being invited. I'm worried that me not inviting her will break this tradition, in which everyone from class gets invited to major life events. Would I be the arsehole for not inviting her anyway? Edit. I'm very thankful for the input so far. What apparently didn't get through though, is that I'm not asking if I'm the arsehole for not inviting her. I'm perfectly aware that of course technically it's my right to invite to my wedding whoever I want, and I'm technically not the arsehole, but that's not my issue. The issue I'm asking about is whether I'm the arsehole for potentially ruining the tradition my classmates and I have going on. Look, to me, you're not going to be the arsehole either way. Either way we put this, from what you said before about the wedding, if you didn't want her invited to your wedding, that's your choice, it's your wedding, and you're not the arsehole for potentially ruining the tradition your classmates have going on. Because that's their choice how they deal with it. If they deal with it in that way, then, that's on them in the end. That's not on you. You need to make the correct decision for your wedding. But, the big but in the room. I have a feeling this will cause issues for you and your friends. Like you're saying you're worried about potentially ruining the tradition. It will likely happen. Maybe not completely ruin it, but it may make things awkward. Next time you all get together, both of you are either going to feel awkward or you may be singled out or something like that. I don't know what the dynamic is between your friends. You've already got one friend who you asked who's saying it would be really unfair and potentially arsehole-ish to do that. So if that's that one friend thinking that, are they going to go back to their other friends and say it, and is it going to cause a snowball of drama? I don't know. And I think if I was in your position, and this is just purely from my point of view, I would potentially just invite that person. Weddings are big events, and on your wedding, you're probably only going to talk to that person for a small amount of time during your day. There's going to be a lot of people there. You're going to be doing a lot of circling, talking to lots of people, etc. I recently went to my niece's wedding, and I must have spoke to her for all of about 5 minutes, if that. So for me, just to, keep the drama away from things and not create a possibly negative dynamic in your friend group, that wouldn't be your fault if you did, but it's a tradition that you want to keep going on, I'd probably just let her be, But that's just me. I'm not saying it's the right thing to do, and you guys probably will disagree with me on that, but that's the way I'd probably deal with it myself. But Fern says, I'm going to go with not the arsehole. Your wedding is your day. You should do whatever you please, and you should not have to endure anyone you dislike, even when it breaks tradition. My only warning is, be ready for the potential fallout. Some people might side with the one girl, might skip your wedding, or you might be skipped from future wedding invitations. And OP replied saying, "That's what I'm worried about the most, that I'll be excluded from future events because of this." Mighty Eskimo Dylan says, "No one's an arsehole here, but think through the consequences of this action. Is it worth all the drama that will ensue? Because you've got 32 mid-20s women here, everyone is going to have an opinion." The Incredible Ape asks, "I think this is info. You're basically asking us to judge whether you're truly justified in your dislike of this person or not. It's really hard to say from your post. Would your classmate agree she's been awful to you?" To which OP replies saying, "They probably wouldn't. I've kept quiet about it during our time in school. I'm asking whether my dislike for her makes me the arsehole, considering it could break this tradition we have." Piranha says, "No one's an arsehole here. Okay, so I feel like possibly you're overreacting to some of the things she's done. I'm not trying to invalidate your feelings, but it seems like she's not too horrible, especially the text thing. I think that her text kind of shows that she didn't really understand how you took her reactions, and she just texted you all clear to let you know not to worry or think about the previous issue anymore. I'm going with no arseholes mainly because it's your wedding and you can basically do what you want when it comes to planning, unless it's actively bad, like shouting at someone. Also remember, other classmates may be resentful of this and not invite you later." To which OP replies saying, "I can totally see how it might seem like I'm overreacting. Maybe I am. Maybe it's completely childish. I'm just still very hurt about never having gotten any kind of apology. While she was shouting at me back then, I already had tears streaming down my face, while trying to negotiate with her and being shut down again and again. I remember that because a friend came up to me and said it was horrible to see me, someone who hardly ever cries, crying and being shouted at. There's no way she didn't realize how it affected me." And one more, because it's an alternative opinion, from Fish, who says, "You're the arsehole. I'm completely biased as I went to a small all-girls high school and the third or fourth girl to get married invited the whole class except me. My friends all called me after the shower to ask where I was and why I hadn't been there. Then I had to explain that I wasn't invited. One friend took it upon herself to find out if my invitation had gotten lost in the mail. It was very bizarre that I was singled out. I didn't have enough to personally do with the bride to have insulted her at any point, and I can't tell you how hurt I felt that not having me at her wedding was so important to this girl that she singled me out of the whole class. In the end, I was at the grocery store and ran into her mum, who suddenly started gushing at me that she doesn't know why I didn't get my invitation, and of course I'm invited and I absolutely must come. Then the bride's best friend called me to let me know I'm invited, but it's so close to the wedding that they didn't want to wait for a response card, and can I RSVP quickly? I did not want to attend, but at that point I felt I had no choice, because if I didn't go, my friends would be talking about it all wedding, and that would be rude to the bride. So in conclusion, you would be the arsehole for singling out one girl, and I hope you mature as you grow up." Interesting opinions all around there. Do you think OP may be overreacting in this, or do you think not? But now we're going to move on to that update to find out what happens next. So updates. Alright, so it's been over 2 years since my post. We had our wedding last September, everything according to my regional COVID restrictions, and I just thought of giving an update. I ended up inviting her as well. A lot of the comments on my post told me that technically I wouldn't be the arsehole for not inviting her, because it's my wedding and I can invite who I want, but that I had to determine for myself which was more important to me. The tradition of having everyone from my class around or not having her around, and it didn't take long to figure that out. So I got off my high horse and invited her. Based on the comments on the original post, I came to the conclusion that I might be extremely overreacting to everything she does and says, and that she probably wasn't going to do anything to ruin the wedding for me. And it turned out that was true. She didn't wear anything scandalous like I had feared, nor did she annoy me otherwise. Apart from congratulations, I didn't even see her the whole day, only later at night when a lot of guests had already left. There was, however, a small incident where she took the opportunity of having everyone around and announced her pregnancy, oh dear, when the whole class was sitting together, including me and my husband. Everyone congratulated her, but that was about it, from what I could tell. By that point, I already had extensively thought about whether this grudge I was holding against her was still justifiable, and I ended up not feeling negatively about it. I also didn't really have the time to think about it in the moment, but even now, months later, I can say I look indifferently at the situation. I'd like to say that I have grown as a person from this whole issue. Of course, also thanks to all the feedback I got on my original post. I'm still learning to question my feelings for certain situations or people instead of blindly acting on them. But I think I'm getting somewhere. Edit. I just want to note that I'm genuinely surprised at the fact that she announced her pregnancy at this wedding is apparently a huge discussion point for a lot of people in the comments. Just to clarify, this took place later in the night when a lot of people had already left and she announced it while sitting at the table. I'm understanding from the comments that this topic has been discussed here before. A lot. So I'm not going to steer into this discussion. I just want to point out that culturally speaking, I don't think it's as big as a deal as where I live as everyone makes it out to be. I only put it in this post because it was literally the only time when I took notice of her throughout the whole wedding. Didn't expect it to take over all the comments, lol. Edit 2. Did I just defend her? Edit 3. I also want to mention that I don't regret inviting her, in case that didn't come across. Again, the pregnancy thing is not a big deal. Now, fair play to OP for not calling the whole pregnancy thing a big deal, but we have read it a lot on these subreddits about people announcing various events, other people's events, birthdays, weddings, etc. And I always come back to, like, if I was in that person's shoes, and I had something that I wanted to announce to everyone, there's no way, I don't care who's around, what time it is, or what part of the day it is, there's no way I would do that on someone else's event. Hey guys, I'm pregnant. I'm sorry, no. So whilst you don't think it's like a huge deal or anything like that, fair play to you, absolutely fair play to you. You've moved on with your life and I think that's absolutely awesome. I think it did confirm a little bit of what you was talking about in the previous post. But hey, I might be wrong there. It always seems strange to me when people feel the need to do this at someone else's event. Friends, timing, whatever, it's someone else's event and it's just inappropriate to do that at that point, in my opinion. My opinion. But what do you guys think of this one? Let me know your thoughts in the comments below and we'll move on to another story. And our next story comes from Tazookeeper, and I saw it and I thought, potential nightmare neighbours here, so I'm not sure yet, but am I the arsehole for not snow blowing the new neighbour's driveway? Our old neighbour Mr. B passed away last year. He was a very sweet old man, kind of like the neighbourhood grandpa. He was a widower and the last couple of years started having mobility issues. When it snowed, we would go over with a snowblower and clear his driveway and salt the walk. In the summer, if I was out mowing, I would do his lawn too. When his health went downhill, we got his groceries and would bring him meals. When he passed away, we continued to mow the lawn and take care of the outside of the house when it was vacant. His children were very appreciative and thanked us for taking care of Mr. B when they could not be here. They eventually sold the house and the new neighbours, here we go, moved into the house in the fall. We introduced ourselves and did the standard neighbour greeting. We noticed they didn't have any lawnmowers or snowblower, so we told them they should get those things sooner rather than later, since we typically start getting snow in November. A few times when I was out mowing, the neighbour asked me to mow their lawn, and I obliged, but told him that they should really consider getting their own yard tools or calling a service. We just had a huge snowfall and are expected to get more this weekend. The neighbour came to my house early on Sunday morning and banged on my door asking when I was going to be out snowblowing as they need to get to work. I told the neighbours that I was not going out to shovel and snowblow anytime soon, so they may want to dig their cars out so they could get to work. He told me they didn't have any shovels and explained that they were relying on me to come over and take care of it. I told him that I was not planning on doing that. Told him that he could borrow a shovel if he would like, but I was going back to bed. When I did go out to shovel and snowblow several hours later, I did not do their driveway. The neighbours are now angry at me and he confronted me outside saying that it's my fault that I had to call out of work. My wife thinks I should have sucked it up and went over, but I told her that I am not a landscaping service and that I should not have to wake up early and shovel their driveway. Am I the arsehole for not snow blowing for the neighbours? No, absolutely not the arsehole. And I gotta say, what's with the wife saying maybe you should have just sucked it up and went over there? Why can't she get the snowblower and go over there? Just the pure entitlement from these people. I never understand it. You know, in these stories, like the previous one, I always try to step into that person's shoes. And, you know, I can maybe understand neighbour not listening to him and not getting the tools required for the snow season, and then maybe going over and knocking on the door and saying, "May I borrow a shovel?" Which OP offered them to begin with, and clearly they didn't take up that offer because they didn't get the cars out in the end and they had to call off work. And it's like OP said, he's not a service or anything like that. The absolute cheeky bastards. And whenever we get these stories, I get vivid images of this. So I've got this image of the houses, like with a road going through the middle, and the houses are facing each other on opposite sides of the road, and the neighbours just sort of stood in the window eyeballing that house, giving them evils all day with snow everywhere, cars stuck. Gone off on one, you know what I'm like. But hey, let's cover a couple of those comments before we move on to another story. And Plenty Kirub says, "Not the arsehole, their sense of entitlement is shocking. Why on earth would you be responsible for this?" Recent Register 239 says, "Not the arsehole, we have a similar situation, but we are the new neighbours. We bought from an elderly couple, and the guy next door is about my dad's age and retired early, and he's constantly outside doing yard work, etc. He had taken care of the yard, snow, etc. for the previous owners for some time. When we bought the house, we couldn't move in right away, and the yard got long. And one day when we saw him, he offered to mow our lawn when he did his on his ride-on mower. We asked if we could pay him. He insisted we do not, and all was fine. But as soon as we were able to move in, my husband started mowing the lawn. We gave the neighbour and his wife a small gift to thank them for being so welcoming, and we've maintained a super friendly relationship. It snowed last week and my husband was still at work when the neighbour was clearing his property, and I looked out the window and saw that he noticed my daughter and I were home alone, and he did my sidewalk for me, which was super nice, but we'd never expect it. These people sound crazy entitled. It's like they were sold the house thinking it came with a neighbourhood lawn service." That contribution 720 says, "Not the arsehole, and stop the mowing too. Don't let that entitled arsehole exploit you anymore. My wife thinks I should have sucked it up and went over." And then says, "If she really thinks that, tell her she knows where the snowblower is and she is fine to do it. She is an arsehole too." God, I absolutely love neighbour stories, but what do you guys make of this one? Let me know your thoughts in the comments below, and we'll move on to another story. And our next story comes from a throwaway account titled, "Am I the arsehole for telling my son's girlfriend to give back the necklace that he gave to her son? I lost my son Adam unexpectedly 2 weeks ago. He met his girlfriend, who's a single mum of a 6-year-old boy, over 2 years ago. His girlfriend and I did not agree on a lot of things, largely due to our differences. There has always been some tension between us, but we do enough to tolerate. I didn't know about Adam's relationship with his girlfriend until months ago. I'll never know why he hid this from me, but that doesn't matter. Adam was adopted when he was months old. I gave him a cross necklace on his 7th birthday, right after he started attending church. I cherish this necklace so much because it resembles his dedication to the church and is part of his identity. He kept it for years, but I found out that he had actually gifted it to his girlfriend's son 2 months prior to his death. I contacted his girlfriend to tell her about it and asked that she return it to me. She explained that Adam gave it to her son for his 6th birthday, and he loved it and clung to it so much, and she can't take it away from him, especially now that he's grieving, and this necklace has now become a source of comfort for him. I told her that it's originally mine and that I need to have it because it carries too many memories of Adam, and so the sentimentality of it is too important to give up. She pleaded that I have some understanding for her son's position, but in return I told her to be a little more logical because Adam was in my life for years. He's my son, but her son only known him for 2 years. She accused me of making light of hers and her son's grief, but that wasn't my intention. I insisted she give it back and work it out with her son any way she sees fit, but she insisted it was Adam's to give and not mine to take. She then blamed me, saying I'll be responsible if I keep pressuring her and disrupting her son's grief, and accused me of taking my resentment for her out on him. I told her he's not my grandchild and nor do I have a connection to him. Why would I be responsible for anything related to them both, for that matter? We argued some more and she ended up hanging up. I don't mean to sound vindictive, just want my son's stuff back. My husband said that I should just let it go since Adam wanted the kid to have the necklace anyway, but I'm still trying to contact Adam's girlfriend about it. Now firstly I have to say I'm very sorry for your loss. I imagine you're going through a lot of grief right now, but I do have to say that you are the arsehole in this situation to me. And I say that because if you take a step back and look at the relationship that Adam had with his girlfriend and the son, it obviously meant so much to him that he gave something that was precious to him to that little boy. And very likely when you gave Adam that necklace on his 7th birthday, it meant the world to him. That necklace meant a lot to him. And now he's passed it on to this boy that he loved so much. And it probably means a hell of a lot to that boy as well. Especially in his time of grief, it would likely give him some comfort to hold on to that necklace and remember Adam by that. And for you to want to take that away will make you the arsehole to me. It's not about who knew Adam the longest, and in the end that necklace belonged to Adam and he's passed it on himself. So yes, you are the arsehole in this situation, and again, I'm sorry for your loss and what you're going through. It must be an incredibly tough time. But Spicy says you're the arsehole. He wanted the child to have the necklace, so you don't have a say in this. This isn't a competition of, oh, I knew him way longer than you, so it's automatically my right. Like, dudette, I get you lost your son, but you're infringing upon other people's grief and being a dick about it. Consistent Street 25 says you're the arsehole. Sorry to say, leave that poor girl alone. The fact that it doesn't matter that you owned the necklace in the past, it became your son's property, and your son made the choice to gift it to the boy. While I completely understand wishing you had it, you have no right to it. Frankly, how beautiful that Adam means so much to the boy. You have a lifetime of memories to cherish. He has that necklace. I'm sorry for your loss. Just Eric says everyone else is focusing on how it isn't yours and wasn't Adam's, and while that's all true, and that alone makes you the arsehole, I want to take a moment to point out that you are trying to take something from a young child that means a lot to him, and maybe the only thing he has to remember Adam by. That Adam gave him a necklace that tells us that they had a special relationship. Adam was probably the closest thing he had to a father, and you're trying to take that away from him. You should be ashamed of yourself. You're the arsehole. You need to let this go for everyone's sake, including your own, and focus on healing. I'm so incredibly sorry for your loss. As one parent to another, I can't imagine the pain you're going through. Literal Garbage-O says, holy shit, yeah, you're the arsehole. As someone going through grief, you should have sympathy for someone else who is also going through grief. The fact of the matter is that the necklace is not yours anymore. You gifted it to your son. He felt confident enough with his relationship with this woman that he did a very fatherly thing and gifted it to her son. He wanted the boy to have it. Respect your son's wishes. I'm sorry for your loss, I really am, but you need to gain some empathy. You have lost a son, but she has lost a partner, and the boy has lost a father figure. Try coming together to ease the pain instead of opening new wounds. And one more from Pure Gothard who says, I will get downvoted for this, but hear me out. I think it's a big everyone sucks here, not the kid. I understand this is a tragic death for everyone, but honestly, I find it very hard to believe a 6-year-old will remember this dude 5+ years from now. I don't think that the necklace will mean much at all in the grand scheme of things, but you are still being condescending to his girlfriend and her son and minimize their grief and assuming it means nothing to them. It's likely the kid doesn't care, but the mother wants to keep it and it was gifted to them, so alas, it's theirs to keep. Now, what do you guys make of this one? Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. Now, just a huge thank you from the bottom of my heart for getting involved in today's stories. Your love, support, time, the joining up on YouTube, joining up on Patreon. The links are in the description, by the way. No pressure though. And just a huge thank you for spending your time with me. And hopefully, I will see you in the next one. Take care, guys. Much love.